Meeting is called to order at 6 o'clock. Natalie, may we have roll call, please?
Chairperson Phil Goldstein,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Marty Jost, Commissioner Lisa Bard,
Here.
Commissioner Eric Westland, Commissioner Christy Bickley,
Here.
Alternate Tom Wood, Alternate Robert Oxmacher.
Thank you. Staff, commissioners, any amendments to the agenda? None, hearing none. Determination of alternate voting. Robert will vote this evening. We're down a couple. Public comment. I assume we have nobody here signed up for general public comment, correct? Okay, thanks, Natalie. Consent agenda consists only of the approval of the June 15th, 2021 meeting minutes. Commissioners, any additions or corrections to the minutes?
No.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? A second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda passes on a vote of 4-0. Item 6A, business, Timnath Landing, sixth filing, final plat. Kevin?
Thank you, Chairperson. As I can, got a little odd technical difficulties going here. I got this one screen that shows and one that doesn't, so I'm trying to.
And none of our screens are on right now, but none are on, but
Tap the screen. We good now?
mine still didn't come on. Oh, there it is. Okay, we're good.
Okay,
Thank
perfect.
you.
Thank you, Chairperson. So as you had mentioned, this is the Timnath Landing sixth filing final plat. This property is located essentially at the northwest corner of Signal Tree and 2nd Avenue, shown there, kind of highlighted in the blue on the map. The property is zoned RMU residential mixed use. There we go. So the owner is CAC Timnath LLC, and the applicant is PCS Group, tonight represented by John Prestwich. This is a final plat proposal to create 125 single-family attached fee simple lots with the intent to create townhomes. The lots will range from roughly 1,300 square feet to just over 3,500 square feet. Since this is in the RMU residentially mixed use zoning district, this plat was reviewed off of the R3 zoning dimensional standards and the recently approved amended PD overlay for this area. The density for this area will be roughly 12 units per acre, and they will be providing 22% open space, which will include some central park areas and trail connections to the rest of the Timnath Landing subdivision. Staff has reviewed this final plat, and it is in conformance with the recently approved preliminary plat and the rest of the land use code and technical criteria manual. With that, I will turn it over to John for a brief presentation.
Good evening, John Prestwich with PCS Group, 200 Calumet Street, Denver, Colorado, 80223. Thank you very much for your time this evening. I will make this pretty brief. You saw us here pretty recently with the preliminary plat and the PD overlay, and the design has really not changed. So, I do always want to thank town staff and recognize all of the folks who help us get to where we are this evening. And again, this is for the 125 townhome lots. Again, with the RMU zoning, there was the potential for, apartment type density in that location, but just given what's happening on the south side and transitioning to our larger portion of the community with the single family detached, we felt like the townhome product was a better use in this location. These next slides are depicting the actual Lennar product sitting along the streetscape. You get to see, I think, a lot of articulation in the architectural elevations, kind of how they are set back from the street, and the front patios, how those kind of interact with the streets themselves. We were asked to look at how we could provide additional parking in the rears. We do have actual parking spots, but we also worked with staff and figured out a way to get parking behind the garages. This view, I think, is really pretty cool because a lot of these townhomes actually face onto green courts. So you really get the opportunity to just walk out your front door to a park-like area. Again, another view pretty darn similar, just in a different location. One thing that has come up is the 22% open space. And while we totally understand that you have to look at it on a filing by filing basis, I did include this slide just because the folks living in the townhome area aren't going to, totally understand that their exact boundaries are this filing 6. They'll have the opportunity to walk to all the parks and open space areas throughout the Timnath Lakes community. And in phase 1, 2, and 3, we are providing about 37% overall for the community. So that's really it for me. Again, we have recommendation from staff, and the design really hasn't changed from when you saw it pretty darn recently. So we are here for any questions, and thank you very much for your time this evening.
This would normally be public comment, wouldn't it be? But obviously there's nobody here, so we open and close the public comment. Bring it up here. Commissioners, questions for John?
Could you maybe just talk a little bit more about the additional parking behind the garages? And I'm curious what impact or feedback has come from the fire department there and access and whatnot.
Sure, yeah. So the fire access would all come from the street. They wouldn't come through the alley. The apron is 8 feet wide, so it's about a foot wider than you would normally have, just like on a 7-foot parking. On-street parking. And of course, we do have on-street parking in addition. And then if we run back to the site plan, it's probably too difficult to see at this scale, but at the ends of some of these alleys that are going through, or where some of the townhomes have a break, we actually have perpendicular parking as well as the parallel parking behind the garages. So we definitely exceed the code requirements for parking.
I know that, speaking of parking, I know we discussed it when you presented before, and then as I recall, council, of course, they're the ones that'll hear about it if there's an issue, not us, along with the staff, of course. But I think, as I recall, council asked a couple questions about this and seemed fairly satisfied with it as well. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, thanks. John, I think we asked you this. But I will ask again, what do you anticipate the price point of these units will be?
That is so hard to answer. And really, I should be asking Lennar. It wouldn't surprise me if they're in their smallest unit would be in the probably high 3s starting. That's just a guess on my part, though.
Which makes it probably one of the more affordable units in the town, correct?
Correct.
How many of the homes actually?
People out there can hear you.
So just looking at it, I'd have to do an actual count, but I would say about 30% of them. It's all. Do any of these pointers work? Oh, there you go. So yeah, exactly. All of them that are perpendicular to the road open up to those green spots. Oh, nice. Green spots, green areas. So some of them are actually, that one that we modeled was one of the narrower ones, not the larger park area, but yeah, exactly. That's the one that we built the site model of. So even though it looks in plan view relatively narrow, I think you saw in the perspectives that it actually feels pretty nice. And then of course, the other one further up is actually a pretty good sized park area. Yeah.
Christie?
No, you're good. So you mentioned, and this, I don't know if this is the right question now, that these residents would have access to the future across the tracks.
Mhm.
Is there a plan to get them across the tracks?
Well, yeah, Timnath Parkway will have detached walks. The Parkway
So they'll have to
roads.
go out to the parkway and then come back around, or?
Correct, which is,
Okay.
which is right, yeah, exactly, right there.
Okay.
And there, and the walk, the internal street walks connect up to Timnath Parkway as well, so.
Okay, I just was like, if we're gonna say that's part of their access, making sure they had access.
Oh, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
thank you.
Absolutely. It's both planted and grade. The townhomes are actually sitting up. I mean, in some spots, 6 feet or so from the railroad tracks itself. There's not a fence on these ones, although you'll notice too, part of the strategy is that you're siding to the tracks. So you're not, you don't have back, the one area where we have an alley facing the track, I mean, obviously that's the rear of those. So for the most part, they are siding or rears to the tracks themselves.
Commissioners, other questions?
I just have one. Where are we at on the Timnath Parkway there in terms of a quiet railroad crossing is?
Okay, when it happens, it will be a quiet crossing, for sure. In fact, we just recently met with the railroad to go over the Main Street crossing and this one.
Okay. So it'll be built as such. It won't be constructed and then added later.
That is correct. It will be built as a quiet crossing.
We know when that's going to happen?
Boy, I would sure love to know. I'm hoping that it will be next year.
Don, is the issue of the two crossings, is the Main Street crossing then destined to close?
I don't want to jinx it, but we had a very good meeting with the railroad just within the last week and a half. And the Main Street, they came to us. The Main Street crossing is going to be upgraded next year on their dollar to improve it. We're going to increase with town's dollars to make it a quiet crossing. But they came to us, and that was the PUC. And so this is a good thing.
And if you're at liberty to say, does that mean it will close, or both crossings will remain open?
I don't know.
Okay.
Our goal is to have both crossings remain open. But as you know, we've had many sparring sessions with the railroad who wanted everything from a grade separated crossing to that crossing eliminated. And to get one new crossing, they wanted 3, other crossings eliminated. It's been a journey. But right now, we're probably in the best position we've been in 6 years with them.
Thank you. Does that answer your question? Lisa, Christie, anything else? All right. With that, commissioners, do I have a motion to approve Timnath Landing 6 filing final plat?
So moved.
A second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, John. Reports, commissioners, I don't have anything. Anybody? I appreciate the photos are up of everybody. Did you see yours? Christie, did you see yours?
They haven't even seen them yet, Phil. How about that?
Much
But they are up.
I know what the next part is much ado about
Yeah.
nothing, Phil. Does that?
I didn't say it.
Yeah, right.
So much internet to see.
No comment. Commissioners, anything? Okay, Aaron's not here. Anything on behalf of town manager?
The only thing I would add is 4th of July was a pretty big success if everybody happened to see that or go there. 700 to 750 cars were approximately visited the reservoir, and they were all able to get out of there in 30 minutes. So it's pretty good event, well attended, and a lot of happy folks. So, and furthermore, the bus grove was open thanks to sliding in right at the last second. So I'll let you take the bus grove one.
Yeah, better the last second than not. So, yeah, and as I think everybody knows, Bus Grove is under construction, and to put a finer point on it, it is scheduled to be, weather permitting, completed by the end of August. But you'll see it closed, at least the eastern portion of it from Biden's Gate to Latham for that period. There will be a small closure of the rest when we have to set the pedestrian bridge on the western side. So, but that'll happen in less than a day.
What's there is splendid. Can't wait for the rest of it.
Yeah, us too. But it's going well, and the contractor's doing a great job. No, not this time. We will, I mean, this project we just talked about, meaning landings, will be responsible for a significant portion of that, half of it. And we have another project that'll hopefully be in front of you in the not too distant future that will be the north side of at least a portion of Bus Grove.
Anything else? Planners, Don, anything else?
The other thing I'd add, Chairperson, is if you haven't been up to the reservoir lately, there are improvements happening up there. It's starting to take shape. We did the wall over the winter, and now we're doing the improvements behind the wall, and it's starting to really come together. It's still kind of a work in progress, but things are moving in a positive way. Way to go.
And it's fabulous.
Yep, it's got a lot of use. I mean, the number of permits that we've issued is pretty staggering to think about. So we've got over 1,000 shore users, or at least permits issued. And then, about the non-motorized, we got about 650 of those, at least individual non-motorized stand-up paddle boards and kayaks, canoes that have a permit on them. So pretty big numbers, and then 50 or 60 motorized boats as well.
So you never got to or you did get
We
to
did. We had
the
to
next threshold.
every one we had to extend up, and we were at the cap of the 650 or thereabouts.
Thanks.
Yep.
Anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Right?
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.